we took you inside coronavirus country. We fact-checked China's claims. We showed you the truth of Wuhan, the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak. It is far from normalcy. Tonight, we bring you the second part of our series, Inside Coronavirus Country. How the threat from China is not over, far from it. But we begin with a question. Where did this virus originate? Today, China will refuse to accept responsibility, but here's a quote from the month of January. This is from Gao Fu, Director of China's Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Gao Fu said, and I'm quoting, and listen to this, the origin of the new coronavirus is the wildlife sold illegally in a Wuhan seafood market, what the Chinese call a wet market. The virus spread, so China shut all such wet animal markets. The virus is still killing thousands of people, but guess what? China is reopening the wet animal markets, and we have multiple reports to substantiate this. Let's start with this. The Hunan seafood market in Wuhan. It's believed to be the birthplace of the coronavirus. When the disease spread, the government went into an overdrive. The Chinese government cleaned every corner of the site, and in the process, China destroyed all evidence of the origin of the virus. That was more than 2 months ago. China has since then systematically destroyed evidence. So no one can say for sure what really happened at this Hunan seafood market in Wuhan. But here's the thing. China's People's Congress voted on the 24th of February to close down all the wet animal markets in the country. Clearly, they were linked to the outbreak. Now, the whole world is still struggling, but China may be reopening these wet markets. Tonight on Gravitas, we bring you the first images. And once again, we begin with Wuhan. This is what the wet animal market now looks like. Hidden behind this blue-colored partition. 2 months since the shutdown, officials are operating cautiously here. There is police tape on the scene to limit access. Some people in white hazmat suits can be seen. News agency AFP says the fate of the market is sealed. It could face permanent closure. But that does not mean an end to such trade. If you thought this pandemic spells the end of China's wet markets, I'm afraid you're mistaken. China did ban them for a while, but it hasn't stopped live animal trade. A week ago, Al Jazeera reported that traders are using e-commerce platforms to sell quote-unquote wildlife products. Beijing reportedly ordered a crackdown. It banned the sale of wildlife 2 months ago. But within a few weeks, 17,000 accounts were closed. Information about 140 wildlife products was wiped off. The crackdown has not killed China's appetite for exotic animals. The Daily Mail has published another report. Their reporter visited a live animal market in southwest China in Guilin. The report claims that these traders are back in business and wild animals are up for sale again. This includes exotic animals like bats, scorpions, rabbits, even dogs and cats. Live animal markets or wet markets are hotbeds for disease in China, a place where animals are slaughtered and sold. Live and dead animals are kept together. Such markets are breeding grounds for new viruses. In China's case, they're disease incubators. And there's history to back this claim. A similar script played out during the SARS outbreak in 2003. It is believed that SARS came from a market in Foshan in China. It spread to 29 countries. It killed more than 700 people. The Wuhan coronavirus is proving to be worse. It has reached 178 countries and regions, killed more than 38,000 people. We're still counting. China has been repeatedly warned against such live animal markets, even advised to shut them down. We reported this in the past. But China paid no heed to such warnings. An article from a journal in 2007 warned Beijing against live animal markets. This says that there is a large reservoir of SARS-like viruses in horseshoe bats, something that is consumed in China. The article warns that consuming horseshoe bats and the culture of eating exotic mammals in southern China is a quote-unquote time bomb. What did China do about it? Nothing. 12 years later, another warning came. China's own medical experts wrote this, and the article is what I'm quoting. It warned about a pandemic like this. It said that it is highly likely that China will have to deal with a SARS or MERS-like coronavirus outbreak. This report was published last year in the month of January. What did China do about it? Nothing again. Now, if the fresh claims are true, Beijing is taking no lessons. It has unleashed another pandemic. It is reopening wet animal markets. There are hundreds of such markets all over China, all incubators of disease. Food choices are fine, but practices which put the entire world in peril cannot and should not be allowed.